Hello and welcome to 10-Minute English with Open English. I'm teacher Chris and today we're going to talk about the different family members in English. So this is a good opportunity to share the video and learn with your brother, your sister, your father or your mother. Although many English speakers may already know brother, sister, mother and father, there are many more family members that we need to know to be an advanced speaker. And I am here to help you achieve that today. But first, if you want to learn more about Open English and the amazing benefits available to you, including live classes, native teachers, interactive videos, dictionary translator, and more, click on the link below for more information. We will begin with our closest family members, the family members who share our blood and our DNA without skipping a generation. Mother, for example. In English, we use the term immediate family. Empezamos con nuestra familia más cercana, la familia que compartimos ADN y sangre sin saltar una generación. En inglés se dice immediate family, familia directa. So we will start with mother, madre. Did you know that British and American English have different spellings of the shortened term of mother? For example, in British English, mother is shortened to mum, M-A-U-M-A. And in American English, mother is shortened to mom, M-A-O-M-A. Next we have father, padre. And we can also use the word dad, which is the shortened version of father. So for example, my father is retired, my dad is 65 years old. A small child may also call their father daddy, but this is not common for adults to say. There is also the word pup, which is very common in American English. An important note to remember before we move on, when we talk about our mother and father together, we use the word parents. A very common mistake for Spanish speakers is to use the word fathers, which is not correct. We say parents. So for example, my parents are on holiday, or my parents live in Canada. Additionally, we can call our mother or father individually parent, which is for gender neutrality. For example, my parent is picking me up from school. Next in our immediate family, we have brother and sister, hermano y hermana. These terms can also be shortened to brother, bro, and sister, sis. However, remember that these terms are very informal. For example, my brother is older than me, my bro is at university, or my sister is very intelligent, my sis is with her friends. Also remember that the same as a mother and father being called a parent or parents together, the same rule applies with brother and sister. So individually, we can call a brother or a sister a sibling, and together are siblings. For example, I have two siblings, one brother and one sister, or my sibling lives in New York. So what do we call two siblings born on the same day? We can use the term twins or identical twins. So if two siblings are born on the same day, but they do not look alike, we call them fraternal twins, or in Spanish, mellizos. And if two siblings are born on the same day and they look almost identical, we call them identical twins, or in Spanish, gemelos. So what happens when you grow up and you want to have your own family? If you are a mother or a father, it means you have a son, hijos, if it's a boy, or a daughter, hija, if it's a girl. For example, my son's name is James and my daughter's name is Mary. And a son and a daughter together, we would say children. So for example, I have 2 children. However, it is important to remember that children in singular, we would say child. Anyone who saw our YouTube video on plural and singular nouns will already know this. So there you have all of the members of our immediate family: mother, father, brother, sister, son, and daughter. I personally have a mother and father who are living in England, and 1 sibling, my sister, who also lives in England. So now we move on to the more difficult family members. The family members we call our extended family, meaning the parents or the siblings of our parents. In my experiences living in Mexico and Spain, I know how big some families can be, so these are definitely worth remembering. Ahora hablaremos sobre nuestra familia lejana, por ejemplo, los hermanos o los padres de nuestros padres. En mi experiencia viviendo en México y España, yo sé que tan grandes pueden ser algunas familias, así que vale la pena recordar estas. So let's start with grandfather, abuelo, and grandmother, abuela, the parents of your parents. So for example, my grandfather is 88 years old and my grandmother is 86 years old. Luckily, these family members follow the same grammatical rule as parents. So together, grandparents, abuelos, and singular gender neutrality, grandparent. Next, in our extended family, we have the siblings of our parents. So your parents' brother is your uncle, tío, and your parents' sister is your aunt or auntie, tía. For example, my uncle works as a lawyer and my auntie works as a doctor. It's very important to remember that in English, we don't have a plural term for uncle and auntie. So if we talk about them together, we have to say my uncle and auntie, mis tíos. Now let's move on to the children of our aunties and uncles, our cousins, primos. And in English, we don't have gender terms for our cousins like brother and sister or mother and father. No, in English, the children of our auntie and uncle are our cousins, regardless of which gender they are. For example, I have 2 cousins who live in Japan and 1 cousin who lives in Thailand. So now what happens when you have a brother or a sister and they have a child, so you are an uncle or an auntie? These children are called your nephew, sobrino, or your niece, sobrina. For example, my nephew is 6 years old and my niece is 4 years old. And the same rule as uncle and auntie, our nephew and niece do not have a plural word when we talk about them together. So we have to say my nephew and niece. Lastly, what happens when you grow old and your children have children? You become a grandfather or a grandmother, abuelo or abuela, like we spoke about before, but those children are called your grandson, nieto, and granddaughter, nieta. So for example, my grandson is called Jimmy and my granddaughter is called Sarah. And these family members follow the same grammatical rule as son and daughter. So when we talk about our grandson and our granddaughter together, they become our grandchildren, or for gender neutral singular, grandchild. So there you have the extended family. I personally have many uncles and aunties and 10 cousins. My 4 grandparents also lived through the Second World War and they have some very interesting stories to tell. Next, we have the family members that are created when someone in your family gets married to someone else. Luckily, the English language has made this easy for us to learn because all we need to do is add the word step before the family member. Ahora tenemos los miembros de la familia que surgen cuando alguien en tu familia se casa con otra. Y afortunadamente en inglés solo tienes que agregar la palabra step en frente del miembro de la familia. Stepfather, padrastro. Stepmother, padrastra. Stepbrother, hermanastro. Stepsister, hermanastra. Stepson, hijastro. And stepdaughter, hijastra. And last but not least, we have the family members that are created when you marry into a new family. Luckily, this follows the same rule as step, because all we have to do is add the words in-law at the end of the family member. Finalmente tenemos los miembros de la familia que surgen cuando tú casas con otra persona y tienes nueva familia. Afortunadamente, este sigue la misma regla de step, que solo tenemos que agregar in-law en el final del miembro de la familia. So, father-in-law, suegro, mother-in-law, suegra, brother-in-law, cuñado, sister-in-law, cuñada, son-in-law, yerno, and daughter-in-law, nuerna. I personally don't have any step family, but I do have one brother-in-law who is married to my sister, and who knows, maybe one day I will have an in-laws here in Spain. So there you have the list of family members in English, starting with our immediate family, then our extended family, and then our family created through marriage. So, how big is your family? How many of these words do you need to know? The best way to learn all of these family members is to save this video so you can keep practicing. Also remember that at Open English we have classes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that you can keep studying whenever you want and become fluent in English. Click on the link below in the description and sign up today. I am Teacher Chris with Open English. Thanks again and have a great day.